There's a really strange paradox in the world of streaming. A creator can pour their heart and soul into a project, release it to a potential global audience of millions, and then they're just left in the dark. They have literally no real idea who's watching, or where, or how their story is truly landing. It's this huge information gap right at the heart of the creative industry. So let's explore why this is happening, and how one company is trying to turn the lights back on for creators.
I mean, imagine being a musician playing to a massive stadium, but you're stuck behind a one-way mirror. You can't see the crowd, you can't hear their applause, you can't feel any of their energy. Well, that's pretty much the reality for so many filmmakers, writers, and producers today. They're making all this amazing content, but are completely disconnected from the very people they're creating it for.
And this quote just cuts right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? The creators, the ones taking all the financial and creative risks, are totally shut out from the most valuable asset their work generates, the viewership data. The streaming platforms, well, they're holding all the cards and all the information. So this leads us to what the industry calls the streamer's black box. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this opaque system where all this vital audience information goes in, but for independent creators, absolutely nothing comes out. It's a total blackout on the most basic questions about who your audience even is.
Now let's be super clear here. It's not that the data doesn't exist. Oh, it exists. The platforms themselves have incredibly detailed analytics for their own original content. But for the thousands of independent studios, production companies, and directors whose work fills up their libraries, it's basically a guessing game. And that makes it incredibly difficult to negotiate, to plan, and to create effectively.
Okay, so how do you fix a problem like this? Well, you have to start by rethinking what data even is. What if we moved beyond just these cold, hard numbers and started seeing data as something more, more human? What if it could be a real connection to your audience?
This philosophy is the real driving force behind a new platform from a company called FrameCore. Their big idea is that every single view, every pause, every rewind, it's all part of the story's heartbeat, echoing back from the audience to the creator. It's a feedback loop, not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
And this is it. This is ViewerDBX. It's a dashboard designed to give you that real-time, global view of audience engagement. It's built to translate that abstract idea of a heartbeat into clear, actionable insights for the people who need it most.
And this is such a crucial shift in how you look at viewer behavior. In a typical analytics model, a user pausing a video is just logged as a server event. Simple as that. But ViewerDBX asks, why did they pause? Was it a moment of heartbreak that made them need a second to reflect? Was a joke so good they just had to hear it again? These aren't just data points, they're emotional responses. It's about reading the room, even when that room spans the entire globe.
Okay, so let's get practical. How does this actually help a creator navigate the incredibly complex world of global distribution? Let's take a look at a real-world example of how the system gives you a solid view of a title's footprint.
What you're seeing here is a snapshot from what they call the Where Now test. It shows you the top streaming platforms by market share in different countries. A creator can use this to see exactly where their title is available right now and which platform is giving it the most visibility. And this just brilliantly illustrates why that's so important. In today's streaming world, licensing deals are always shifting. A show might be on Netflix in the UK, but over on Prime Video in the US, and maybe somewhere totally different in Canada. So knowing where your content actually lives in real time, that's absolutely essential for marketing, for press, and for planning your next sale.
Now, whenever you talk about getting viewership data like this, a huge question always comes up. How do you know it's accurate? And this is where we really get into the core of FrameCore's methodology, because it all hinges on a really important distinction.
See, most analytics platforms rely on prediction. They're kind of like weather forecasters trying to guess what's going to happen. ViewerDBX, on the other hand, is built on computation. It's much more like a detective piecing together a puzzle with known pieces. It isn't guessing. It's mapping new data onto a huge library of verified known viewer behaviors to find the perfect fit.
So the whole point is this. When they use the word compute, they're talking about solving for an answer using what they already know, not predicting something they don't. Think of it less like trying to forecast tomorrow's temperature and more like using a ruler to measure something. Yeah, there might be a tiny margin of error, but you're working with something tangible and known.
And to make sure they're accurate, they focus their analytical power where it really matters. They classify all titles into 3 tiers. Their most intense work is focused on that top 15%, the Class A and Class B titles that are really driving the market and the cultural conversation.
This makes sure the most important data for the most watched content is also the most accurate.
So when you put all of this together, what does it add up to? Well, it's about giving creators a brand new tool to navigate the industry. It's about giving them a compass in what has for way too long been totally uncharted territory. It really is a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of flying blind and just hoping your work connects, creators can now have a clear line of sight. They can finally see their audience, understand their reactions, and engage with them on a truly global scale.
And this isn't just about looking backward at what happened. The real value here is in looking forward. I mean, imagine a director seeing a huge spike in viewership in Brazil for one specific character. That's not just a vanity metric. That's an insight that could literally inform a spin-off series targeted directly at that market. By understanding what themes are resonating right now, creators can make way smarter decisions about what to make next.
For decades, storytellers have been sending their work out into the world with little more than hope. But now they have tools to actually listen for the response. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for the future of entertainment. Once you can truly hear your audience's heartbeat, what new kinds of stories will you be inspired to tell?